Okay, I will call the December 11th Select Board Licensing meeting to order. Just go to my other screen for the agenda here. I don't believe there are any changes to the agenda. First up, we have a request for approval of a change of corporate name application for annual all alcoholic beverages restaurant license from 4 West Creek LLC, DBA Kitty Murtaugh's to Kitty Murtaugh's LLC for premises located at 4 West Creek Road.
Great, thank you. So this is a consent item. There's a change of corporate name here from 4 West Creek LLC to Kitty Murtaugh's LLC. What I wanted to just make a note of here quick with Kitty's, as we're doing a renewal of them later as well, is to just notice I'm going to be issuing a compliance letter for them following this meeting. This corporate name change is administrative, but just a notification. I'll copy the select board on this compliance letter that they are to report for an alteration of premise application because they have been operating something that was not approved earlier in this copy of licensed premise. If you see here where it says they have a service bar and 7 outdoor tables, they have a 21-seat bar plus more tables than that and entertainment outside, which was not approved. So just a notice that we will be issuing a compliance letter for that. We will be renewing them and approving this change with this specific approved description of premise. So I just need to make a statement on that per discussion with legal as far as how to handle this situation. So there's no objection to a change. This is administrative change that they've done through the Secretary of the Commonwealth for their business, but just a notice that it is approved with this description of licensed premise.
Okay, any questions? Malcolm has joined us as well. Does somebody want to make a motion?
I move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor by roll call: Brooke Moore.
Aye.
Tom Dixon.
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb. Oh, I think he's on, but Malcolm, can you hear me? Okay, well, Don Holgate, aye. That carries 3-0. Number 2, request for approval of changes of officers, application for annual all alcoholic beverages club license for the Sankaty Head Golf Club Inc., DBA Sankaty Head Golf Club for premises located at 100 Sankaty Road. Amy?
Thank you. Again, another consent item, an administrative function for these clubs that do changes of their officers. And this being a nonprofit club, this is administrative. Again, they are changing their officers as is required by the liquor laws. No objections.
Approval.
Okay, any motion for approval? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor by roll call: Brooke Moore.
Aye.
Tom Dixon.
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb. Okay, well, we don't have Malcolm quite, but Don Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously 3-0. Next up, we have the request for licensing and petitions, departmental request for renewal of annual licensing categories, including common victuallers, local entertainment, rental car agencies, motor vehicle sales class 1, 2, and 3, local food units, and local flower and produce vendors.
Great, thank you. And as you mentioned, and I know, Tom, this is your first year, so I'm going to go over a couple different things. We vote to renew existing business licenses on an annual basis for the most part, aside from seasonal liquor licenses, which is done in March. The categories, as you just mentioned.
Excuse me, Amy.
Yes.
I just got a text from Matt that he's here, but not on the screen.
Yeah, I got that too.
Is he?
I don't know.
He's not even in.
Oh, here, I'll text you.
Sorry, Amy.
Hold a minute. I can go over the just summary if you
Yeah,
want.
because Matt won't need to hear this he's
Yeah.
heard it many times.
Yeah, so just going back to, we renew these on a calendar year schedule. These are local based licenses, meaning they don't go through, they have some state components, but don't go through the same thing that liquor does. So common vicular being seated food service, most of the restaurants, local entertainment. The state manages Sunday entertainment if there's a charge, motor vehicle sales, motor vehicle rentals. And in this category, just to note that these are the agency licenses. This is not a medallion discussion, that is still being handled separately on a policy basis. So this is just for the agency licenses that are listed, mobile food units and flower produce. And we don't have any at the current moment shellfish vendors per our bylaw. And just to remind everyone that we are just renewing the licenses and starting the process. This does not issue any license. Everyone still has to go through their required inspections, things of that sort. So I know in the past people asked, did you issue the license? No, unless all payments are made, inspections are passed. And again, I do know all the different legal requirements should there be any problems with any licenses. And even when we can make changes, we prefer to do those on a specific hearing basis. So we don't make any changes or take in any comments specifically. If someone wants to discuss a specific license, we will set up a time to do that separately. So these are just, again, approval, which they are generally allowed renewal by right, and then issuing once they follow those protocols. So if there's any questions on those, and we have nothing to specifically talk about any of these categories, everything is pretty standard for
Any
this.
questions? Okay, is there a motion? Motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor by roll call. Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Tom Dixon.
Aye.
I'm going to try it again. Malcolm McNabb. Malcolm, you might not have your volume on or something. I don't know what's going on, but Don Holgate, aye. That carries 3-0. Last up, we have the request for renewal of annual liquor licenses, review of renewal process, and 2023 license compliance report.
Okay, great. Thank you. Oops, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, so liquor license is obviously a little bit more involved. Again, we are doing something similar where we are just approving those licenses for renewal. We also, in this case, have to vote on those that are either did not complete renewal or are not renewing for other reasons. I'll go over those three as well. And again, this is something that goes through the ABCC once we are finished here as well. So this is a statutory requirement in the month of November for any licenses that are annual liquor licenses. The seasonal liquor licenses, which are April 1st to January 15th licenses, renew in the month of March. They are not included in the process. Of the 107 active liquor licenses we had at the height of this season, 57 are annual. We have 48 seasonal, maybe 50 depending on the non-renewals right now. So like I said, there was 107 at the height of the season, 57 of these annual. A couple of things I wanted to say, we look at this is I currently have, as far as annuals, and Tom, this is something you might not know yet, though, they're technically supposed to be open year round. If they have extended closures, they report to us for approval. Obviously, this is something we've struggled with for years because they've had more and more difficulty staying open. One thing I think in the coming few months we're going to have to deal with, and I've spoken to legal about, is the extended closures. Is there a way to make seasonals a little tighter and allow people a little more flexibility? Currently, we have 14 extended closure requests. I got 2 more in my email this morning of these 57 annuals, and about 10 of them have already asked to change to seasonal, and I've asked them to hold off until I can see if there's any other solutions to help stop everyone from being seasonal and not having anything open in March or January through March. So just a note as to where we stand there. I just had one today email me that was planning on being open all winter, and now they can't be and will be closed for 4 months. So it's just it's getting compounding every year. So again, I've started to research maybe some solutions, but
And Amy, we have that fee schedule we put in place, what, a year or two ago to deal with this?
right. We suspended that in COVID, and the problem is that it's going to, at this point, force a lot of people into seasonal, and do we want to do that? So we've
So-
asked for some legal advice on that. So we can do that and charge them a fee, and they're just going to go seasonal. So that's what I'm trying to see, if there's any way within the law that we can just make seasonal those that are just only open a short period of time. Because some folks said, well, maybe next year I'll be able to be open in the winter. They're not sure. So I think we're trying to find a solution. And I'll probably bring that before you at another time, as far as the fees. And if we do end up charging the fee, that if you're closed for more than 60 days, there is a fee on top of that, which we may be exploring this year. So just a heads up that we are still getting those notifications of these annuals.
Amy,
Yes. Mhm.
do you have a sense of, are there pressures beyond the obvious finances of running an operation with with fewer diners, staffing, housing? Like, what are the components that you're hearing are contributing to this?
Right. It is all of that. It is, not worth it. Staffing is number one. That's the problem I saw this morning. They were really trying to make something work, but then, the powers that be, the financial numbers just didn't work to stay open. So it is a definite combination of that, staffing and the finances. It's just not coming through. So of these 57, 10 are packaged. So you have 47, take out the clubs. You're looking at maybe 40 that are restaurants or, general on premise, like the Dreamland and things of that sort. So, and a good 10 or more of those want to go seasonal at least. So it's starting to diminish those numbers. I spoke to one today or last week, and he said, well, I just couldn't make it work this year. I said, well, could you maybe next year? He said, absolutely, maybe. He said, I want to. It's one of those things that we're looking for. And I've spoken to our attorneys. Is there a way within the law, without making a special Nantucket law, which we're trying to avoid, that helps us be more flexible in this with fees and other ways to do that without forcing people to go back and forth seasonal every year? So it's just something we're kind of looking into because it
What do
has
places
just
on the Cape do?
well, they don't have the similar problems. We've talked to Provincetown, Barnstable, and things of that sort. They have fewer seasonals. And they just don't, it's not the same. It's just really not even at the same level. So we're going to try to have a Cape and Islands meeting with some of these folks and licensing folks to see, but we're just trying to look into it. So just a heads up on that. That I have just held off a couple people on going to seasonal just yet and see what that solution is. So, so for now, like I said, 14 extended closures with a couple more that came in this morning. We will report to you on that once we get all those in at the next meeting, so you can kind of see what we're talking about. A couple other things here when I have my list here of non-renewals. Just tell you what these are. Non-renewal Special Grapes LLC, that is DBA Petrichor at 140 Pleasant Street. They notified us that they will be closing by the end of the year. Cocktail Core LLC, again, that is Saltbox, 16 Macy's Lane, which we discussed last month, where a new liquor license was approved upon non-renewal of this license. So that will be non-renewed here. And then the third one, Nantucket Culinary LLC at 22 Federal Street. The reason we had to non-renew that was the former operator's business, because that got done later than the renewals were printed. It was printed out and the state made us do this non-renewal of this. So it's not a non-renewal of the current, it's a non-renewal of the former operator. So those are the three that non-renewed. Everyone else renewed. We had to do a couple chasing around, which we prefer not to do anymore, but we did that. So everything else is pretty set. Any other items here I had? Again, this is just to renew. Most have paid their fees and are in the process of getting their annual inspections. If they are an extended closure, the license will not be issued until they open up for the season. And the one last COVID related item on these licenses, the takeaway and delivery of alcohol program, again, was extended until April the 1st of 2024. I know I said this last year, we don't expect it to be extended. There are a couple bills rolling around, but that is set to expire on April the 1st for on-premise licenses that are allowed to sell alcohol to go with food orders. And I believe that is it. Any questions on that?
Tom?
Amy, I was going to ask you a question about that, about the takeaway and delivery of alcohol. Do you have any anecdotal kind of or thoughts on what you've been hearing about how that's been going for businesses, and if there have been any issues or it's difficult for you to administer, or et cetera?
Yeah, and I would like to get more of a report on that. I have, for the most part, I think at first it was very helpful. It depends on those who are still doing takeout for a lot. Once everything got back up and running, it was just too much to do. I had some issues with some folks who were not exactly complying, so we had to kind of deal with that at first. It's hard to really keep on top of. They had requirements for size, for being sealed. You had to buy with food. I happened to witness someone selling something that looked like a bunch of drinks that were sold over the counter to go. So we kind of jumped on that at the time. So it's a difficult thing to really kind of keep on, and it's certainly hurtful to the package stores. The beer and wine was easier because it could be sold sealed. It was the mixed drinks, by some of the beach locations that might get sold with takeout, and it becomes difficult and people are walking around with it. So that's difficult with the open container law. So that part was harder. You can mix a margarita and put it in a drink, and they just, had a requirement to tape it or whatever on the top, and that, they have a straw in it by the time they're in the parking lot. So it was a little messy at times. I think it's maybe filtered out a little bit. And I know there's a couple bills again floating around to keep it going in several states. So, considering we still don't have happy hour in Massachusetts, I wouldn't think they would, but who knows? So, but again, it hasn't been as much lately. There are a couple places though that have been operating a little bit like a package store in a sense, because of their size. But we've been in conversation about that. And again, package stores were out of licenses. Our quota is, so for any location that wanted to turn into more of a takeout, they're not available for us. So one or two places need to consider that in their business plan right now. So we'll see, and try to get definitely more of a feed on that. But I know a bunch of them are working on that in legislature.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Remind me, Amy, if the state allows it, we're required to allow it. We're not allowed to limit it.
I think, and I've wondered that question as well, and we stayed away from it at first, but generally the rule tends to be you can't go looser than the state, but you can certainly locally have stricter requirements. As it hadn't been as active, we didn't see the need, but certainly I think it's something we can always hold a hearing. And if there's a public need to be stricter on the allowances, we could. And we have in certain ways on the sidewalk dining and other things requiring it to be a full license, because that's still allowed too on a temporary basis. If they were to extend it, I certainly think we'd probably look at it. But again, always the rule is you can certainly discuss being stricter than the state in certain areas.
Thanks.
Anything else? Okay, is there a motion? Oh, now we have everybody. Yeah.
The link wasn't letting me into this part of it. Both links.
Link on the agenda is for attendees.
No, there's two links there, and then the link that was
There's one
sent
for
to us.
YouTube and there's one to let you in as an attendee. That is for the public. You were emailed
Yeah.
a link to be a panelist.
I didn't get that link, so I
Right,
I
because
looked
Charles
everywhere.
resent it.
It's all right.
Yeah,
No big deal.
that's all right. I'm on my phone, believe it or not.
So you're fancier than me.
Well,
One comment on the stent you had on I've been listening to most of it. The extended closure thing, that's staffing, housing, lack of business. They're not busy enough. And there's been a changing makeup of the year-round workforce. It's not the English and the Irish that used to go out out every night. And, and the Americans that are here, it's a whole demographic shift. And I think that's a lot of the places that are coming to you are just not as busy as they were. What I'm seeing is the busy times are busier and the shoulders in times like now are just dead. Nobody's going out at all. And so we've had a real shift. We've built such a supply for peak that it really is. We're going into a weird time. Anyway, thanks.
Yeah. Exactly. So we're just gonna take a look at if there's any solutions that are Nantucket based without making a special law and see how we can make it work for us, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's so busy at peak, people can't keep up with it. And then and then at the shoulders in the winter, there's no business.
Right.
So we've created a monster for this industry to be able to survive based on what's happening on the rest of the island is very, very difficult.
Yeah. Correct. We've discussed that internally with them. They've had to add so many layers to their business, be it, housing and different things of layers that you don't normally have to in a restaurant, that it's quite a challenge. So without wanting to penalize them for those situations, it's looking at, other solutions and things of that sort. So we're going to continue to work with legal and the state and see kind of what we can do and talk to the other Cape towns too as well and see if there's any other solutions out there. So we're just trying to work with them on this.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
No.
We have to approve the liquor licenses.
Oh, sorry.
Is
Motion
that a
approved.
motion? Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor by roll call, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Tom Dixon,
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
aye.
Matt Fee.
Aye.
That carries unanimously 5-0. Now I will take a motion to adjourn if there are no further comments.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Oh, Tom? Before we-
Madam Chair, may I just ask a quick question? Amy, do the 3 non-renewals require a second motion normally? Or is it's just all in one motion to approve the 50? Okay, I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Yep. Renewed
I knew
certification.
you would have flagged it. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor by roll call, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Tom Dixon,
Aye.
Malcolm McNabb,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
John Holgate, aye. That carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you all again for your time. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year if I don't see you all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Take care, Amy.
Thank you.